You're watching Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC6. Hello, Southern New England. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tiffany Murphy. We here at ABC6 hope you had an absolutely wonderful holiday, and we hope you made it through that winter storm safely. While we are on the topic of the storm, let's check in with meteorologist Kelly Bates and get a first check of our forecast. Kelly?
We had such a pretty day today out there, but it still was pretty chilly and temperatures cooler than average. Taking a look outside from this afternoon, beautiful shot. Lots of sunshine as we oversaw the bay, just top to bottom, gorgeous conditions, not a cloud to be found. And that's all due to the fact that we've got this area of high pressure in charge. And I know when we see our zoomed out satellite, you can see some snow showers through the Appalachians. That's going to stay there. High pressure will keep things nice for us up close here in Southern New England. So we are looking at basically just some high thin clouds as we go to overnight tonight. Your forecast as we start tomorrow will be cold once again as lows will be dropping into the 20s. And of course, we've got the week ahead, including your New Year's Eve forecast, which I'll have coming your way in just a couple of minutes.
And that storm we saw over the weekend, really bad down by the coastline. Massive waves, flooded streets. Some businesses even had to close before the holiday weekend, including the Coast Guard House. ABC6 News anchor Olivia DeRocha has the story from there.
I spoke with the manager of the Coast Guard House on Monday. He tells me thankfully the damage was not nearly as bad as what it could have been. The main damage they saw was to these igloos on the porch.
Not going to beat the ocean. Ever, never. But you can prepare for it.
The Coast Guard House in Narragansett all cleaned up and running since Friday's heavy rain and strong winds that whipped through southern New England.
Between 5 and 7 o'clock in the morning, all the water, all the ocean started going up over the seawall here in Narragansett, and that's when you have to worry. So we did incur a little bit of flooding inside, but not to be unexpected.
Manager Fred Curry says the main damage they saw was to the igloos on the patio, which was to be expected in a storm just like this. So in advance, they moved one just in case.
Down, because that's directly where the ocean is. The other ones we left, and they sustained a little bit of damage. Basically, the ocean moved them against the restaurant.
The Coast Guard is no stranger to storms, partially why Curry believes the restaurant escaped as little damage as possible.
Construction after Superstorm Sandy wiped out the bottom floor helped us out because all of the columns of the restaurant, all the walls are reinforced with steel now so they can incur the ocean.
In Narragansett, Olivia DeRocha, ABC6 News.
That Arctic storm wreaking havoc all across the country, hitting the hardest, though, in Buffalo, New York. ABC's Alexis Christophorus has more.
A massive winter storm sweeping through the country at Christmas. No place hit harder than Buffalo, New York. The city hit with more than 3 feet of snow.
Think about looking just a few feet in front of you at a sheet of white.
The snow and wind created such terrible conditions, even the rescuers were getting stuck out on the roadways.
Here in downtown Buffalo, conditions so bad, first responders haven't been able to get down these roads to get to people in need. One mother pleading for help for more than 15 hours, saying her baby son is on a ventilator, but they lost electricity. She says she's been having to give manual breaths just to keep her son alive.
That mother and son eventually rescued after a group of strangers went to her Niagara Falls home to help dig out the family and get medical attention for the boy. Meanwhile, officials are in the process of checking every car they find stuck on the highway.
We are doing a vehicle-by-vehicle search with our partners from Buffalo Police and Fire, and it's a task force type mentality with a lot of state agencies assisting our local partners.
Drivers facing treacherous conditions across the country. In Rockton, Illinois, several injured in this 8-vehicle crash. And in Ohio, a deadly multi-car pileup involving roughly 50 cars.
This is a stark reminder of what can happen when you get behind the wheel and try to drive in bad weather conditions.
And power outages left hundreds of thousands in the dark over the weekend. And at airports, thousands of passengers left stranded. More than 3,100 flights canceled yesterday alone, and more than 7,700 were delayed. Buffalo's airport is not expected to reopen until tomorrow. Alexis Christophorus, ABC News, New York.
Now to an ABC6 News update. We've now learned that one person was killed in a house fire on Kenyon School Road in Richmond Sunday night. Fire crews responded to the Christmas Day blaze. They were able to knock it down quickly. That victim's name, though, not being released. The cause of that fire still being investigated. Turning now to developing news. The Red Cross is helping 16 people and multiple pets after a fire broke out in a 3-story home in Central Falls. Fire crews responding to that house on Cowden Street just after 12:30, making quick work of the 3rd floor fire and getting it knocked down just after 1 p.m. Fire officials are now working to figure out what caused that blaze. They added that this is the 2nd fire in this home in the last 5 years. A home near the Merrimack River in Haverhill destroyed by a fire this morning. Video shows heavy flames and smoke pouring out of the Coffin Avenue home. That fire knocked down, but leaving extensive damage behind. No word on injuries or a cause, but fire officials say they believe it was an electrical issue. A fire in North Haven, Connecticut takes the life of a firefighter. Crews were called to battle that 2-alarm blaze on Quinnipiac Ave around 1 a.m. It lasted until 4:30. Now, during the fire, 46-year-old Matthias Wirtz, a 22-year veteran of the fire department, was found hurt and later pronounced dead at the hospital. All 4 units of that residential building damaged, leaving 13 people displaced. Now looking into consumer news, the holidays are the biggest time for spending. But with an economy that's been fighting inflation for months on end, how do consumers fare in the stores? ABC6 News reporter Daniel Coates went to track down the numbers.
Looks like a lot of the inflation problem is behind us.
Victor Matheson, professor of economics at Holy Cross, correctly predicted this would be a booming shopping season for the country, as the nation saw a 7.6% increase in holiday sales with Christmas now in the rearview mirror. Despite inflation on goods in 2022, Matheson believes the increase in revenue is a bright spot for all in 2023.
So it's generally a good thing, right? Because it's both a signal that the average consumer has money, so that's good for you as a consumer. It also means that businesses are selling a lot of goods and services, which is good for you as an employee.
According to Matheson, the increased cash flow is a sign of improving supply chain issues stemming from both Ukraine and the pandemic. And now consumers with cash in their pockets, a likely improved economy as well in 2023 when it comes to gas, groceries, and daily goods for Southern New Englanders.
There's no obvious reason why the current much lower prices. Again, prices are about the same today as they were a year ago. There's no reason to think that those lower prices are going to start skyrocketing again like we saw last year.
And as the Christmas season comes to a close, Matheson believes this year's success reflects the strong labor market, saying now is the time to look for work or request wage increases, but to ultimately remain fiscally conservative heading into this new year.
If you and I were having this conversation with your viewers about what's the economy going to look like, and we were having this conversation back in December 2019, right, 3 years ago, none of us would have been talking about a global pandemic leading to the biggest economic downturn that any economist can remember in their lifetimes.
In Providence, I'm Daniel Coates, ABC6 News.
Now to an ABC6 News follow-up. East Providence Christmas charity event. The Together for EP group hosting its 7th annual Christmas community dinner in East Providence on Sunday. The event invites anyone who might be alone on Christmas to have a place to go with food, toys, even haircuts, so much more as well. Organizers there tell us 92 volunteers joined together, helping more than 100 people who showed up.
It's amazing. Everything that we've seen here, from food to toiletries to coats, hats, jackets, toys, everything has been donated by our community.
Now taking a look at national news. Several buses of migrants arrived on Christmas near the home of Vice President Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. The White House is calling it the latest political stunt from Texas Governor Greg Abbott, though Abbott's office has not yet said whether his administration sent those buses. This as the Supreme Court considers the end of a Trump-era immigration emergency health policy. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
In frigid temperatures on Christmas Eve, 3 buses of migrant families dropped outside the residence of Vice President Kamala Harris. Aid workers say more than 100 people, including children, were left outside, many unprepared, wearing T-shirts in the record-breaking cold.
It's been so cold that people, I step outside and they say, please, let me in, even if there's standing room only. I don't even have to find a place on the floor to sleep as long as you just allow me to come in.
The White House immediately blaming Texas Governor Greg Abbott, saying in a statement he abandoned children on the side of the road in below freezing temperatures on Christmas Eve. This was a cruel, dangerous, and shameful stunt. Abbott's office did not respond to a request for comment, but previously said Texas had bused more than 15,000 migrants since April to Washington, D.C., New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. It's part of a growing political battle as Republican-led states protest the Biden administration's attempt to end a Trump-era policy known as Title 42, which allows migrants to be expelled without being able to claim asylum. We're waiting for Title 42 to be nullified, says this man from Honduras. The fate of that policy is now in the hands of the Supreme Court. As the court weighs a decision, the Department of Homeland Security is out with a statement saying migrants should not attempt to cross the border in the cold, warning of the risk of deportation.
Now, it's not clear when the Supreme Court might issue its decision on Title 42. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Just to get an idea just how much colder than average our temperatures have been going, we typically start at 25 and top out near 41. Well, lately we've been starting in the teens and the lower teens at that and struggling to reach 30 degrees for a high. Well, we are going to start to see more seasonable temperatures. In case you were curious, your records for today include a record low of 3 degrees below zero from 1980 and a record high of 63 from 1982. You'll notice your sunrise and sunset times are a little bit later, both in the morning and in the afternoon, but yeah, we are seeing that noticeable later sunset already. Just a quick preview of the remainder of the week ahead. We're looking at dry conditions through Friday, mostly sunny skies, and not a raindrop to be found until we hit week's end. We will also see a nice warming trend. Highs should be in the 50s by the time we get to Friday. So we're going to swing the pendulum the other way, temperature-wise, where we've been running so much colder than average. Now we're going to go warmer than average by about 10 degrees, too. Even more as we head through New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Speaking of New Year's Eve, we're looking at a good deal of rain that'll be around. Right now it's a 60% chance of rain, but with a temperature of 45 as we hit the overnight, it will be rain, not snow. New Year's Day, mostly cloudy, continuation of the rain. So right now, nothing to worry about. We have clear skies, and that's keeping the satellite nice and clear, and that will do basically as we go to tonight and tomorrow and the day after that. Tuesday morning, we're going to see high pressure that's nestled well to our southwest really begin to move in and take control of our weather pattern. We're looking for Tuesday afternoon to be bright and dry as a result of that high getting closer and closer to us. And as it creeps closer and closer to us as we go Tuesday night into Wednesday, we're going to notice our winds slacken off too. So it's going to be calm at the same time. Wednesday, lunchtime, high pressure is here. It is sunny, it is dry, and winds are light to calm all round. Here's your planner as we go to Tuesday. Lots of sunshine, but still cold in the morning as lows will drop into the lower 20s. By noon, we should be close to our daytime high in the mid-30s. Still colder than average by 5 degrees, by the way. And once we hit the afternoon, evening hours, temperatures will be down into the 30s. So, taking a look ahead, our planner for New Year's Eve, if you have plans, at midnight we should be in the 40s. It's strange, I know, but New Year's Eve, 40s, rain, at least we're not looking at stormy conditions like we had last time. But yeah, we have a 60% chance of rain in your forecast for New Year's Eve. Back to tonight, though, we are going to do a little bit of clouds, but otherwise it's going to be dry. High pressure firmly in control, but lows will drop to near 22. For tomorrow, here's your area of high pressure. Sunshine, cold temperatures, though. Temps will be topping out near 36 for your high. Then we begin to swing the pendulum to average for Wednesday. Slightly milder than average for Thursday. Friday, we should be in the 50s, and we will likely hold the 50s not only through the weekend, but into the first couple days of the upcoming year.
Still to come on ABC6 News, how those stranded during the winter storm made the most out of it, creating one of the most memorable holidays. This will forever be a memorable Christmas for a family from Buffalo, New York. They were among dozens of folks who were stranded when that blizzard hit the city Friday. The family of 6 lost power in their home, so they decided to hit the road and head to a hotel for the night, but they got stuck on the road. So members of the Buffalo Airport firefighters came to their rescue. The family, with kids ranging from 8 years old to just 9 months, spent Christmas Eve and Christmas Day at the firehouse. And Santa still managed to find the family, even though they weren't home. The firefighters quickly improvised and were able to wrap up some presents for those kids to enjoy. Thank you so much for joining us on ABC6 News. Remember to stick with us online and on air, or our ABC6 News app for the latest news. Have a great evening. Thank you for watching ABC6. For news and weather anytime, go to abc6.com or download the ABC6 News app.